They were built with, marble. All these palaces, they were all constructed with crystal and clear silver, splendorous, decorated with huge emeralds. And inside these palaces, the furnishings were bedecked with gold and jewels. And traffic, was moved well in laid system of the boulevards, then roads, intersections, marketplaces, and many assembly houses and temples of demigods grace the charming city. The roads, courtyard, commercial street, and residential patios were all sprinkled with water and shaded with the heat by banners waving from flag holes. This is one description from the 10th Canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Not only that, Krishna, he had 16,108 queens, and he had 11 children from each of their queens, and his population itself is so much. And also it is stated that in Dwarka, there were only, 900,000 teachers alone, just to teach this Yadu family. And such was the glories of this Dwarka. And Lord lived there with 16,108 wives, and he was performing various leela. And in each houses, it's not that like we can it's like all everything is symmetrical, so I'm doing it here, same thing Krishna is doing in other room, nothing like that. Everywhere it was different. Practically Narad Muni went to each and every palace of the Lord, and he was witnessing what the Lord was doing. In one house, the Lord is he is doing the Pancha Mahayagna, means he is doing a morning rituals. Then in other house, he's getting ready to take bath. In the other house, he is helping. He's making the children to get ready. In other place, he is getting himself ready to go to the Sudama palace, Sudharma place. That was the assembly, Sudharma assembly, where Krishna would assemble there. So it's also mentioned, from each and every house. Okay. So in each and every house, in every palace, Krishna would come out, and he was seen by those people who are in that particular palace, and also the neighbors, and no one else can see Krishna. And all he will get onto the chariot, and they will go like that. 16,108 Krishna will get onto the different chariots, and they will all go. And at the path gateway of Sudama palace, all this 16,108 Krishna will merge into one. Then one Krishna will enter the Sudharma hall. This is the glories of Krishna. Even like yogis also, they have this potency of expanding themselves. They will also can be transformed into many forms. But their limitation is only 9. A yogi can expand himself in 9 different forms, not more than that. And also when he manifests himself as 9 forms, and it will be like more or like everything symmetrical. What the function he is doing in one person, all the other 8 will be doing the same thing. But here in Krishna's pastimes, it's not like that. It's completely different. So with this, we can understand how glory is Krishna. Okay. So now, we'll get on to the today's text, shloka number 1126. Shriyo nivaso yasyoryaham panapatram mukham drisham bahavo lokapalanam saranganam padam bhujam. Can somebody read that translation and purport also?
The Lord's chest is the adobe of goddess of fortune. His moon-like face is the drinking vessel for eyes which hanker after all the beautiful, of all that is beautiful. His arms are the resting place for administrative demigods, and his lotus feet are the refuge of pure devotees who never talk or sing of any subject except his lordship. Purport by Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. There are different classes of human beings, all seeking different enjoyments from different objects. There are persons who are seeking after the favor of the gods of fortune, and from them the Vedic literatures give information that Lord is always served with all reverence by thousands and thousands of goddesses of fortune at the Chintamani Dama, the transcendental abode of the Lord, where the trees are all desire trees and the buildings are all made of touchstone. The Lord Govinda is engaged there in herding the Surabhi cows as his natural occupation. These goddesses of fortune can be seen automatically if we are attracted by the bodily feature of the Lord. The impersonalists can observe such goddesses of fortune because of their dry speculative habit. And those who are artists overtaken by the beautiful creation should better see the beautiful face of the Lord for complete satisfaction. The face of the Lord is embodiment of beauty. What they call beautiful nature is but his smile, and what they call the sweet songs of the birds are but specimens of the whispering voice of the Lord. There are administrative demigods in charge of departmental service of cosmic management, and there are tiny administrative gods in the state service. They are always afraid of other competitors, but if they take shelter of the arms of the lords can protect them always from the attacks of the enemies. A faithful servant of the Lord engaged in the service of the administrators can remain safely under the protection of the arms of the Lord. The essence of everything is the Supreme Lord. He is called the Saram, and those who sing and talk about him are called the Sarangas, or the pure devotees. The pure devotees are always hankering after the lotus feet of the Lord. The lotus has a kind of honey which is transcendently relished by the devotees. They are like the bees who are always after the honey. Srila Rupa Goswami, the great devotee Acharya of Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, has sung a song about this lotus honey, comparing himself to the bee. O my Lord Krishna, offer, I beg to offer my prayers unto you. My mind is like the bee, and it is after some honey. Kindly, therefore, give my bee mind a place at your feet, at your lotus feet, which are the resources for all the transcendental honey. I know that even big diamonds like uh, sorry, kind, I know that even big demigods like Brahma do not see the rays of the nails of your lotus feet, even though they are engaged in deep meditation for years together. Still, O infallible one, my one, O infallible one, my ambition is such, for you are very merciful to your surrendered devotees. O Madhava, I know all. I know also that I have no genuine devotion for the service of your lotus feet. But because your lordship is inconceivably powerful, you can do what is impossible to be done. Your lotus feet can desire even the nectar of the heavenly kingdom, and therefore I am very much attracted to by them. O Supreme Eternal, please therefore Let my mind be fixed at your lotus feet, so that eternally I may be able to relish the taste of your transcendental service. The devotees are satisfied with being placed at the lotus feet of the Lord and have no ambition to see his all beautiful face or aspire for the protection of the strong arms of the Lord. They are humble by nature, and the Lord is always leaning towards such humble devotees. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you, Uday Prabhu. So, such a wonderful commentary by Srila Prabhupada. In this first, the Lord chest is compared to the abode of goddess of fortune. Means the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, she always reside in the chest of the Lord. And his face is compared to moon. Look, and which is drinking vessel for the eyes. And the Lord is so beautiful. You can drink him with our eyes. His arms are the resting place of the administrative demigods. Like if you see the Purusha Sukta prayers, there it says that Brahmanosya Mukhamasi Bahu Rajanya Kritaha. The Brahmanas are the head of the society, and in fact they are Lord's face, and Kshatriyas basically who takes care of the administrative work and who protect the state, and they are the administrative class, and they are the Lord's, they are the arms, bahus, bahubhyam. Okay, so here all the demigods, they take shelter at the Lord's lotus arms, like Indra, Chandra, then Surya, Varuna. So all these people, they take shelter of the Lord's body, and they perform their wonderful service in pleasing Lord Krishna. And in the first paragraph, Srila Prabhupada here mentioning about the Golokadam. In Golokadam, Krishna is enjoying a totally different atmosphere. Like in Dwarka, he is the Dwarkadish, he is the king. Whereas in Vrindavan or in Goloka, he doesn't hold any position. He is just like a cowherd boy. He's always enjoying with his transcendental pastimes. Like every day he goes to the cow herding cows, and he plays with his gopas. Then he also, all this thing it is done in Golok Vrindavan. Golok Vrindavan is also considered as Chintamani Dham. Chintamani Dham means whatever you desire, you will get it there. So Acharya's comment, like in spiritual world, like there is no thirst, there is no hungry. So whatever you say, this Kalpa Vrukshas, they can provide you everything you require. So that is the beauty of Golokadam, and Srila Prabhupada is comparing the difference between Golokadam and Dwarakadam. So in Dwarakadam, Lord is the king. So he is, it is worshipped in a Aishwarya Bhav, whereas in Goloka Vrindavan, he'll be worshipped with Madhurya Bhav, and also like Vatsalya Bhav, and then Sakya Bhav. So he performs all other different activities there. So impersonal people, they cannot understand because they deny the fact, Lord doesn't have a form. So when we come to that conclusion, Lord doesn't have a form, how can we enjoy all these beautiful forms of the Lord and his activities, his form, name, activities, pastimes? We cannot relish because we are denying the existence of the Lord form. And other logic acharyas put forth is like, we have been given with certain body, right? So I have, we all have, 2 eyes, 2 arms, 2 legs. So everything is there. And when can you say something, if a person is formless, how is that possible? Right? This is another logic where we can debate Mayavad philosophy. So then further the Lord here is called as Saram. Saram means The essence of everything is the Supreme Lord. He is called as Saram. And those who sing and talk about him are called as Sarangas. The devotees are called as Sarangas. So you must have heard, in South India, there is a common name, Saranga, Sarangapani. The pure devotees always hankering for the lotus feet of the Lord. The lotus feet of the Lord is compared like a honey. Srila Rupa Goswami, he is our Acharya, and he is comparing Lord's lotus feet is like a honey. And he is also praised to even the demigods, they hanker to have this association of the Lord, which they never get. In Damodar Lila also we come across with one particular verse wherein Shukadev Goswami is glorifying Yashodamaya. Neither Lord Goddess of Lakshmi, Brahma, Shiva, they didn't had the opportunity to serve the Lord, as Yashodamaya is having. So Lord will award to his pure devotees such transcendental mellows, such transcendental transaction to do with him, but not with others. Even Brahma, Shiva, they all hanker for such thing. So here Rupa Goswami, he in this particular verse, he wants to drink this nectar, from the lotus flower. All the flower has got a nectar. So the bee, what does? It goes from one flower to other and suck the honey from it, and it all comes back, and he will accumulate it in this bee hives. Right? That's how we get the honey. So Rupa Goswami is also comparing the Lord's lotus feet as a full of honey, and the devotees always hanker to take shelter at the lotus feet of the Lord. So this is what the purport of this particular verse. Then we'll move on to the next verse. Verse number 27. Okay. Sitata Vijanair उपास्कृतः प्रसूनावर्षैत् अभिवर्षितापतिम् पिशङ्गावासवनमालया बभो घानो यथार्कदूप चोपवैद्युतैः. Translation.
As the Lord passed along the public road of Dwarka, his head was protected from the sunshine by a white umbrella, while feathered fans moved in semicircles and showers of flowers fell upon the road. His yellow garments and garlands of flowers made it appear as if a dark cloud were surrounded simultaneously by sun, moon, lighting, and rainbows. Purple. The sun, moon, rainbow, and lighting do not appear in the sky simultaneously. When there is a sun, the moonlight becomes insignificant, and if there are clouds and a rainbow, there is no manifestation of lighting. The Lord's bodily hue is just like a new monsoon cloud. He is compared herein to the cloud. The white umbrella over his head is compared to the sun. The movement of the bunch hair fan of flukes is compared to the moon. The showers of flowers are compared to the stars. His yellow garments are compared to the rainbow. So, all these activities of the firmament being impossible simultaneous factors cannot be adjusted by comparison. Sorry. The adjustment is possible only when we think of the inconceivable potency of the Lord. The Lord is all powerful, and in his presence, anything impossible can be made possible by his inconceivable energy. But the situation created at the time of his passing on the roads of Dwarka was beautiful and could not be compared to anything besides the description of natural phenomena.
Thank you, Sushil Pro. Yeah, in this verse, the Lord is, he's walking along the public road of Dwaraka, and he was protected by a white umbrella, and white feathered fawns moved in semicircles, and the people are showering flowers on him, and his yellow garments and garlands were flower made it appears as if a dark cloud surrounded simultaneously by sun, moon, lightning, and rainbows. So all these things will not happen in one time, right? If the sun is there, naturally the moon light will not be visible, right? The sun dominates. Then when sun is there, all the four things cannot appear at one time, but it's possible when Krishna is there, everything, here acharyas are comparing, they are seeing all four things at a time, simultaneously they are seeing. That's the beauty of the Lord. And the Lord is all powerful, and for Lord nothing is impossible. And so that's what it's meant in this verse. We'll move to the next verse. Verse number 28.
It's coming up now.
Yeah. Just here, there's a next button, Prabhu. You click on that, it takes you to the next page.
Yes, Prabhu. It looks like network is little slow.
Yeah. Anyway, till it changes, I'll read from my screen.
Yeah.
Okay. Pravistastu gruham pitro paristvakta swamatribihi vavande shirasa sapta devaki pramukhamudha. Translation and purpose.
Translation. After entering the house of his father, he was embraced by the mothers present, and the Lord offered his obeisances unto them by placing his head at their feet. The mothers were headed by Devaki, his real mother. Purport. It appears that Vasudeva, the father of Lord Krishna, had completely separate residential quarters where he lived with his 18 wives, out of whom Srimati Devaki is the real mother of Lord Krishna. But in spite of this, all other stepmothers were equally affectionate to him, as will be evident from the following verse. Lord Krishna also did not distinguish his real mother from his stepmothers, and he equally offered his obeisances unto all the wives of Vasudeva present on the occasion. According to scriptures, also there are 7 mothers, one real mother, 2 the wife of the spiritual master, the wife of Brahmana, the wife of the king, the cow, the nurse, and the earth. All of them are mothers. Even by this injunction of the Shastras, the stepmother, who is the wife of the father, is also as good as a mother, because the father is also one of the spiritual masters. Lord Krishna, the Lord of the universe, plays the part of an ideal son just to teach others how to treat their stepmothers. Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Yeah. So here Lord is entering, and Vasudeva had 18 wives, out of which Devaki is the mother of Krishna, and along with Devaki, he had 17 more wives. But Krishna here is not distinguishing, it's a stepmother attitude he doesn't have. He is going and treating them, everyone equally. So one of the main purpose why Krishna descends here, he himself explains in third chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Yadi heyam navarteyam jatu karmanyatindritaha. So if Krishna says, if I don't follow the rules and regulation, how can I expect others to follow? In the next verse, he says, Yad yad acharati shrestha tat tad eve tarojana. Whatever the great personality perform, the common man will follow. So we take as, like whatever the leaders do or whatever the celebrities do, that will become, it is more attractive for us. Similarly, Krishna, he himself is setting everything. He's setting how we should conduct with others. Even in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, again in the same episode which Narad Muni is visiting in all the places, all the palaces. In one particular palace, in each and every palaces where Narad Muni entered, Lord, what he does, he literally do the Pada Puja to the Narada. So he is calling Narad Muni and he is doing his washing his feet. And Narad Muni also did not stop him doing that, because why he did not, Narad Muni did not stop him, stop the Lord to bathe his lotus feet, do the Pad Puja, because here the Lord is setting an example how a saintly person should be worshipped. So with his own example, he is teaching the whole world how should we conduct. So that's one point from this particular verse. And also there are 7 mothers. So I think we all grown up, hearing this particular shloka. We have 7 mothers. Can anyone of you remember the Sanskrit verse? Of course, in English, Prabhupada has given here in this particular verse. It's a quite famous verse. I'm sure, in your childhood, we learn this. Our parents taught this particular verse. Mr. Rao?
No, something.
Okay, I give a hint. Atma Mata. You remember?
No, Prabhuji.
Okay. So it goes like this. Atma Mata, Guru Patni, Brahmani, Rajapatnika, Denur Datri, Tata Prithvi, Saptaite Matara Smritaha. There are 7 mothers. One is Atma Mata, means the mother who gives birth to a child is a mother. Okay. And second one is Guru Patni. Guru Patni is the wife of the spiritual master. Then Brahmani, the wife of a Brahmana. Then Rajapatnika, the wife of a king. Then Denu. Denu means cow. It's also mother. Then Datri. Datri, the nurse, who helps, in delivering, he is called as Datri. Then Prithvi, Mother Earth. These are the 7 mothers. Okay. So we'll move to the next verse.
Prabhu, I think the details of the 7 mothers is for the first time came in this verse only. Because I have written somewhere the 7 mothers, and the reference is 1:11:28.
Okay. Okay, bro. Thank you. So we'll move to the verse number 29. Ta putram putramankamaropya sneha snukta payodaraha harsha vihvallitatmanaham chichuchu netrajair jalaihi. Yeah. Translation and
I'm Hare Krishna. Translation. The mothers, after embracing their son, sat him on their laps. Due to pure affection, milk sprang from their breasts. They were overwhelmed with delight, and the tears from their eyes wetted the Lord. Purport. When Lord Krishna was at Vrindavan, even the cows would become moistened by affection towards him, and he would draw milk from the nipples of every affectionate living being. So, what to speak of the stepmothers who are already as good as his own mother?
Yeah. So this is a natural phenomena. When the mothers get very affectionate, automatically they will get moistened. Their breast will get moistened. And also we have seen when Yudhishthira Maharaj was ruling this earthly planet, all the cows, they were so happy, and they were, pouring out the milk like anything. And instead of water, all the grass, everything, it used to be flooded with milk. So there was so much prosperity happening in the reigns of Yudhishthir Maharaj. Okay, we'll move on to the next verse. अथ विशत्स्वभावनं सर्वकामामनुत्तमं प्रसादायत्र पत्नीनां सहस्राणि च षोडश.
Thereafter, the Lord entered his palaces, which were perfect to the fullest extent. His wives lived in them, and they numbered over 16,000. Lord Krishna had 16,108 wives, and for each and every one of them there was a fully equipped palace, complete with necessary compounds and gardens. Full description of these palaces is given in the 10th canto. All the palaces were made in the best marble stone. They were illuminated by jewels and decorated by curtains and carpets of velvet and silk, nicely bedecked and embroidered with gold lace. The personality of the Godhead means one who is full with all power, all energy, all opulences, all beauties, all knowledge, and all renunciation. Therefore, in the palaces of the Lord, there were nothing wanting for fulfilling all desires of the Lord. The Lord is unlimited, and therefore his desires are also unlimited, and the supply is also unlimited. Everything being unlimited, it is concisely described here as Sarva Kaman, or full with all desirable equipment.
Okay, here Lord, after paying obeisances to his parents, now he is entering to his own palaces to meet his queens. So Krishna had 16,108 wives. Can you name the wives of Krishna? At least 8 principal queens of Krishna.
Yeah, Rukmini, Satyabhama, Jambavati.
Yeah. Then who else?
Some 1601 and 16,100 are some those who were under the he got them free got them freedom from some asur or something like that.
Yeah, which asura was it?
That
We all celebrate Diwali.
Narakasur.
Yes. Okay. So okay, we have covered 3 principal queens of Krishna. Who are the others? Rukmini, Satyabhama, Jambavati.
Satya.
Satya, very nice.
Lakshmana.
Then, yeah.
Yamuna.
And seven bulls. Nagnajiti. Then the river.
Yeah.
Which is that river flows in Vrindavan.
Yeah, Yamuna ke kinare mile the. I don't remember the name.
Yeah, Kalindi.
Kalindi, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So these are the 8 principal queens of Lord Krishna. So they are all so affectionate, and Krishna is so affectionate to them. And when he came, when he was here, he was exactly performing like a householder, like we common people will perform. No, he was doing like that. So every morning, when the roasters, they wake up, they make a sound, right? Krishna would get up, then he would dutifully perform his morning duties, Then then he will do the Mangalarati, then he will chant Gayatri, and all these things he was doing very perfectly like a common person. So that's the beauty of Krishna. Though he is the master of all six opulences, but he is not showing off. So with this, Lord is teaching us the humility, how a devotee should behave. So in spite of our knowledge, our opulence, our beauty, the best thing, we should always remain humble. This the Lord is exhibiting here. And the Lord is having all this quality in full. So he want all his devotees also to be like that. Okay, so we'll move to the next verse number 31. Okay. Patnyapatim prashya गृहानुपागताम् विलोक्य सञ्जातमनो मनोत्सवाः उत्तास्तुरर्हत् सहसा सनशयात् साकं वृथैर्व्रीडिता लोचनानः.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada ji. Jai Srila Prabhupada ji. The queens of Lord Sri Krishna rejoiced within their minds to see their husbands home after a long period abroad. The queens got up at once from their seats and meditations. As was socially customary, they covered their faces shyly and looked about coyly. Purport. As mentioned above, the Lord entered his home palaces occupied by 16,108 queens. This means that the Lord at once expanded himself in as many plenary expansions as there were queens and palaces, and entered in each and every one of them simultaneously and separately. Here is another manifestation of the feature of his internal potency. He can expand himself in as many forms of spiritual identity as he desires, even though he is one without a second. It is confirmed by the Shruti mantra, and the Absolute is one alone, and yet he becomes many as soon as he so desires. These manifold expansions of the Supreme Lord are manifested as plenary and separated portions. The separated portions are representations of his energy, and the plenary portions are manifestations of his personality. Thus, the personality of Godhead manifested himself in 16,108 plenary expansions and simultaneously entered into each and every one of the palaces of the queens. This is called Vaibhava, or the transcendental potency of the Lord. And because he can do so, he is also he is also known as Yogeshwara. Ordinarily, a yogi or mystic living being is able to expand himself at most to 10-fold expansions of his body, but the Lord can do so to the extent of many thousands or infinitely as he likes. Unbelievers become astonished to learn that the Lord Krishna married more than 16,000 queens because they think of Lord Krishna as one of them and measure the potency of the Lord by their own limited potency. One should know, therefore, that the Lord is never on the level of the living beings who are but expansions of his marginal. Sorry. Yeah. His marginal potency, and one should never equalize the potent and the potency, although there is very little difference of quality between the potent and the potency. The queens were the expansions of his eternal potency, and thus the potent and potencies are perpetually exchanging transcendental pleasures known as pastimes of the Lord. One should not therefore become astonished to learn that the Lord married so many wives. On the contrary, one should affirm that even if the Lord marries 16,000 million wives, he is not completely manifesting his unlimited and inexhaustible potency. He married only 16,000 wives and entered in each and every one of the different palaces just to impress in the history of the human beings on the surface of the earth that the Lord is never equal to or less than any human being, however powerful he may be. No one therefore is neither equal to or greater than the Lord. The Lord is always great in all respects. God is great, is eternal truth. Therefore, as soon as the queens saw from a distance their husband, who was away from home for long periods due to the battle of Kurukshetra, they all arose from the slumber of meditation and prepared to receive their most beloved. According to Yagnavalkya's religious injunctions, a woman whose husband is away from home should not take part in any social functions, should not decorate her body, should not laugh, and should not go to any relative's house in any circumstances. This is the vow of the ladies whose husbands are away from home. At the same time, it is also enjoined that a wife should never present herself before the husband in an unclean state. She must decorate herself with ornaments and good dress and should always be present before the husband in a happy and joyous mood. The queens. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. थोड़ा ऊपर करेंगे. Can you?
Rao Prabhu,
थोड़ा
Oh, maybe I think
his internet has a problem. One moment, let me share. I'm sorry. Sorry, one moment.
Sorry, Prabhuji, it got disconnected.
Can I do, Subal Prabhu?
Hani, I'm just doing it. Rao, if you can share, I will not share.
No.
Okay, he's doing it. Okay.
I have shared it from. Hope you are.
It's not come up yet. Maybe it's coming. Still not come up.
Stopped it here.
Prabhu, should I read? I know I have iPad before.
No, actually.
I'm sharing it. Okay. Mataji, are you able to see?
Ji Prabhuji, yes.
Where did you reach?
Yeah, last paragraph, I think.
The queens.
Yeah.
There she
Yeah,
stopped.
yeah.
Mhm.
God is good. Therefore,
Yeah.
Therefore, as soon as the queens saw from distance their husbands who was away, I've read all this. This is the vow of the ladies whose husbands are always from home. At the same time, it is also enjoined that a wife should never present herself before the husband in an unclean state. She must decorate herself with ornaments and good dress and should always be present before the husband in a happy and joyous mood. The queens of Lord Krishna were all in meditation, thinking of the Lord's absence and were always meditating upon him. The Lord's devotees cannot live for a moment without meditating on the Lord, and what to speak of the queens, who were all goddesses of fortune incarnated as queens in the pastimes of Lord Dwarka, of the Lord at Dwarka. They can never be separated from the Lord, either by presence or by trance. The gopis at Vrindavan could not forget the Lord when the Lord was away in the forest cow herding. When the Lord boy Krishna was absent from the village, the gopis at home used to worry about him traversing the rough ground with his soft lotus feet. By thinking thus, they were sometimes overwhelmed in the trance and mortified in the heart. Such is the condition of the pure associates of the Lord. They are always in trance, and so the queens also were entranced during the absence of the Lord. Presently, having seen the Lord from a distance, they at once gave up all their engagements, including the vows of women as described above. According to Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, there was a regular psychological reaction on the occasion. First of all, rising from their seats, although they wanted to see their husband, they were deterred because of feminine shyness. But due to strong ecstasy, they overcame that stage of weakness and became caught up with the ideas of embracing the Lord, and this thought factually made them unconscious of their surrounding environment. This prime state of ecstasy annihilated all their formalities and social conventions, and thus they escaped all stumbling blocks on the path of meeting the Lord. And that is the perfect stage of meeting the Lord of the soul, Sri Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji. So here now, Lord is meeting with his queens. So you can imagine the Lord, Lord is coming to they're seeing the Lord after so many months, because Lord was not here in Dwarka. He was in the battlefield, and before that, he was with Pandavas. So it's quite some time now, and Lord is coming after such a long time. So all are very fascinated to see the Lord. And first of all, here the Prabhupada clearly makes the Lord's normal tendency. People will say Krishna married 16,108 wives, and also not only that, he used to perform Rasa Leela with other girls, which is not an ethical thing. This is the common thing. Most of the people, they talk about Krishna, but factually we should understand who is Krishna. Before we get into that subject of Krishna's Rasa Leela, or Krishna is marrying 16,108 wives, it is we have to go through all 9 cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam. So there, Shukadev Goswami, he is clearly establishing the supremacy of the Lord right from the toe. Instead of seeing Lord directly face, we have to go through from the feet of the Lord. So that is what is recommended. Until unless we know all 9 cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam, we thoroughly study these 9 cantos, we will never able to understand Krishna. So sometimes it becomes a big challenge, like some people will ridicule at Krishna by saying all these words. Of course, that is their ignorance. And also, we should tell them, first and foremost thing, these people are none other than his own potencies. In other sense, like one time, one professor challenged challenged Srila Prabhupada about Krishna's morality. And he's telling, you are worshipping a person who married 16,108 wives. And also he was performing, Rasa Leela with other wives. Then Prabhupada told him, so Krishna is not illegal. You are illegal because you are married a Krishna's wife. In other thing, in Bhagavad Gita, what does Krishna says in the 15th chapter, 7th verse? Anybody remember? 15.7. Mamai Vamsho. Can you tell at least the meaning? Mamai Vamsho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatanaha. So we are all eternal, fragmental part and parcel of the Lord. Okay. So we can never be separated from Krishna. So here also the Krishna has got so many potencies. Okay. Like, he has got plenary portions, and he manifests himself into many things. Okay. Before that, in the Prabhupada mentions about Shruti Mantra. In Shruti Mantra, it is stated that, Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam. So Nityo Nityanam means the Lord is eternal. We living entities, we are also eternal. Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam. So we are conscious and Lord is also conscious. Like, since we are I'm conscious, so I'm able to interact with you. if the Chetana is not there, if the consciousness is not there in me, it's a dull matter, right? So that's the difference between Chetana, and we are also conscious. Krishna is also conscious. Means Supreme Personality of Godhead is also conscious. Eko Bahunam, whereas Krishna is the one, and where we are the living entities, we are many. Eko Bahunam Yo Vidadati Kaman. That one particular person who is fulfilling the desires of all the living entities. Just you consider how many. Just we are talking about only the humans. There are so many human population on this earth. Not only on this earth, in so many other planetary systems. Like that, there are so many Brahmandas, and there are so many other living creatures. There are 84 lakh species of life. Krishna is maintaining and he's fulfilling all their desires. That one particular person. So for him, it's all like a child's play. He can do whatever he wants. He can expand himself, and whatever he wishes, he can do it. That is called as his Vaibhava, his opulence. And also, in Shvetashvara Upanishad, again it is stated that na tasya karyam karanam cha vidyate na tat samaschabhyadikascha drishyate parasya shakti vividhaiva shruyate. Meaning, na tasya karyam karanam cha vidyate. Being Supreme Personality of Godhead, he need not to perform any activities like us. For example, I have to every day I have to come to my work. Then only my company will pay me the salary. But Krishna is not like that. He need not to do anything. And by sitting at, so all his subordinates, all his administrative demigods, they are on their toes, diligently performing their duties. Like for example, we never see the demigods going on strike, right? So every day sun rises and he sets, moon rises and wind blows, rain comes on its time. All these things are happening. So, and they're all on their toes to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, and Krishna is, he's in Goloka Vrindavan, just he's playing with his, cowherd boys, and he's enjoying the pastime. At the same time, Krishna's external energies, Parasya Shaktir Vividaiva Shruyate, his innumerable potencies, they are working, and they are seeing all these manifestations, and everything is functioning wonderfully. So that takes care. So these are all the opulences of the Lord. Krishna is also known as Yogeshwara. He is the Ishvara of all yogis. So, here, Prabhupada writes, a yogi can manifold 10-fold times, but, elsewhere, yesterday I have read it's 9 times. Yogi can manifest himself 9 times. So that will get clarified. And here, then Krishna is entering to each and every queens. They are all very much excited to see him. And the Agnavalka also mentions what is the Stri Dharma, so which traditionally it was followed, and now also in some part of India it is being followed. Now also they cover their head, especially we also the devotees when the sannyasis comes, they cover their head. So all these are quite prevalent on today also. So this is what's mentioned. In this, yeah.
There is a sentence: the separated portions are representations of his energy, and the plenary portions are manifestations of his personality. The plenary portions are Vishnu's.
Yeah. Okay. After that, these manifold expansions of the Supreme Lord are plenary and separated portion. The separated portions are representation of his energies, and plenary portions are manifestation of
his personality.
his personality. And here he clearly mentioned the personality of Godhead manifests himself 16,108 plenary expansions. Yeah, so his plenary expansions are not, it need not be only the Vishnu form. It can be another forms also. In this particular case, it's all queens of Lord, right? And separated portions are basically we are like the Jivatma are called as separated portions, because we are called as Tatastha Shakti. Neither we are there or like if you see there is a land, then a water. We are on the borderline. Neither we are on the land nor on the water. That is the separated portion. So this is very detailed explanation is given in 20th chapter of Madhya Leela in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Maybe that we can take separately. In simple words, Prabhu, this plenary means Lord's own expansion, and separated portions are living entities.
So here because only plenary portions are important for Krishna.
Yeah, I mean, separated portions also important. Yeah, it doesn't, the Lord is so merciful. He wants all conditioned souls, all living entities to go back home, back to Godhead and serve Him. Like just as a father, though the children are rebellious against the parents, but the parents, they never take offense against their children, right? They always anchor them to come back, to live with them, right? That is the same attitude of the Krishna. Of course, it was existent in Krishna, so the naturally we all also has got that tendency. Like in what's that? Brihad Bhagavatam. This is very wonderfully explained by Sanatan Goswami. There was a one devotee by name Jayanta. By name Gopakumar. He is from Govardhan of Vrindavan. He was a cowherd boy. He was just as a cowherd boy he was doing. There he see one saintly person who is coming there. He's sitting and doing meditation, and this saintly person is not asking for anything. Simply he's sitting there, and since morning to evening, he has not taken any food. This boy observes him for a few days. Then he feel, this Baba is not having anything. So let me go and offer him some milk. So he started giving him milk. Then the attraction goes between that saint and this Gopakumar. Then that saint give him a mantra. Krishnaya Govindaya Gopi Jana Vallabhaya Swaha. He asked this boy to chant this mantra, and he started chanting this mantra. And without knowing the meaning, he kept on chanting the mantra. So then he tried to get all, like he become a king of Jagannath Puri. Then he attains all good position in this material world, but he was not happy since he kept on chanting this mantra. Then finally he kept on going to all planetary system, like we know 7 planetary system, right? Om, Bhu, Bhuva, Swaha, Mahaloka, Tapaloka, Janaloka, and Satyaloka. So he travels to all these 7 planetary systems, and still he's not happy. And then finally he goes to Vaikunta. There, when Vaikunta he goes, he sees 400 Vishnu, and as soon as this Gopakumara sees Vishnu, immediately he wants to run and go and hug Lord Vishnu. But in Vaikunta Loka, what is the status? It is a reverential love. Means you are worshipping the Lord in Aishwarya Bhav. He is the boss, right? So then immediately the servants, the Vishnu Dutas, they stops him, for not going and hugging. Then this boy he was not attracted even in Vaikunta planet. Then since he kept on chanting that mantra, then finally he goes to Golok Vrindavan. Then he meets the Lord, Then when he meets the Lord in Goloka Vrindavan, as soon as Lord sees him, immediately he get up from his chair and he comes and he hugs this boy Gopakumar and he asks him, "Where were you all these years? I was eagerly waiting for you to come back." So this is the attitude of the Lord. So Lord is impartial. That's the reason in Bhagavad Gita he says, "No, samoham sarvabhuteshu." He is neither partial nor he is impartial. So he is equal to everyone. But of course, those ever, he renders service to him, he will show little extra mercy. Otherwise, he is compassionate to everything. So for Lord, either it's a separated portion or plenary portion, everything is same. Okay. Is that okay, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. So maybe this we can take up. This is a wonderful topic. You said, there's a beautiful one complete chapter. It's given about this. Of course, I have one chart. Maybe in some of the if I get it, I will share with Subal Prabhu. We can share with you. So there is clearly mentioned, different different expansions of the Lord. I will try to find that and share with Subal Prabhu. Okay. Can we get out of the verse number 32? Okay. तम आत्मजय दृष्टिभिरन्तरात्माना दुरन्ता भावा परिरेम्बिरे पतिम् निरुद्धम् अपि अश्रुवादम्बुनेत्रयोर् विलज्जितानां भृगुवर्यां वैक्लवात्. Yeah, the translation.
I'll read through. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. The insuperable ecstasy was so strong that the queens, who were shy, first embraced the Lord in the innermost recesses of their heart. Then they embraced him visually, and then they sent their sons to embrace him, which is equal to personal embracing. But, O chief amongst the Brujus, though they tried to restrain their feelings, they inadvertently shed tears. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Although due to feminine shyness, there were many hindrances to embrace their dear husband, Lord Sri Krishna. The queens performed the act by seeing him, by putting him in the course of their hearts, and by sending their sons to embrace him. Still, the act remained unfinished, and tears rolled down their cheeks despite all the endeavors to check them. One indirectly embraces the husband by sending the son to embrace him because the son is developed as part of the mother's body. The embrace of the son is not equal to the embrace of the husband and wife from the sexual point of view, but the embrace is satisfaction from the affection point of view. The embrace of the eyes is more effective in the congenial relation, and thus, according to Srila Jiva Goswami, there is nothing wrong in such an exchange of feelings between husband and wife. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. So the wives, they're not satisfied, so they're embracing the Lord, and of course they cannot come and embrace the Lord directly. So they are embracing in their hearts, innermost chamber of their hearts, and they are seeing the Lord, and they're embracing him visually. Then they're sending their children to embrace him. So when the children embraces the father, they're feeling great satisfaction, and all this made them to cry. I mean, the tears started coming from their eyes. This is the feminine nature, and they are doing with their husbands. Okay, so we'll move to the last verse of today's verse. Okay. यद्यपि आसो पुष्पगतो रहो गतास् तथापि तस्याङ्घ्रियुगं नवं नवम् पदे पदे का विरमेत तत्पदात् चलापि यच्छ्री न जाहाति कर्हिचेत्.
Although Lord Shri Krishna was constantly by their sides, as well as exclusively alone, his feet appeared to them to be newer and newer. The goddess of fortune, although by nature always restless and moving, could not quit the Lord's feet. So, what woman can be detached from those feet, having once taken shelter to them? Conditioned living beings are always after the favor of the goddess of fortune, although by nature she is moving from one place to another. In the material world, no one is permanently fortunate, however clever one may be. There have been so many big empires in different parts of the world. They were they have been so many powerful kings all over the world, and there have been so many fortunate men, but all of them have been liquidated gradually. This is the law of material nature. But spiritually, it is different. According to Brahma Samhita, the Lord is served with very respectfully by hundreds and thousands of goddesses of fortune. They are always in a lonely place, also with the Lord. But still, the association of the Lord is so inspiringly near and near that they cannot quit the Lord for a moment, even though they are by nature very restless and are moving about. The spiritual relation with the Lord is so enlivening and resourceful that no one can leave the company of the Lord once being having taken shelter of him. The living beings are by constitution feminine by nature. The male or enjoyer of the Lord, the male or enjoyer is the Lord, and all manifestations of his different potencies are feminine by nature. In the Bhagavad Gita, the living beings are designated as para prakriti, as the superior potency. The material elements are apra prakriti, or inferior potency. Such potencies are always employed for the satisfaction of the employer or the enjoyer. The supreme enjoyer is the Lord Himself, as stated in the Bhagavad Gita 5.29. The potencies, therefore, when engaged directly in the service of the Lord, revive the natural color, and thus there is no disparity in the relation of the potency and the potent and the potence. Generally, people engaged in service generally people engaged in service are always seeking some post under the government or the supreme enjoyer of the state. Since the Lord is the supreme enjoyer of everything or in or outside the universe, it is happiness to be employed by him. Once engaged in the supreme governmental service of the Lord, no living being wishes to be relieved from the man engagement. The highest perfection of human life is to seek some employment under the Lord's supreme service. This will make one extremely happy. One need not seek the moving goddess of fortune without the relation of the Lord. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu. Yeah, a little. Okay, that's the beauty of Krishna consciousness. Everything it's becoming newer and newer. Like we must have read or heard pastimes of Krishna many times, the same pastime. But every time we hear or we read, it's a new understanding we get. So that is the spiritual potency. Whereas in the mundane scriptures, mundane literatures, we'll get bored. Maximum you can read one time, two times, especially the novels and other things. You can read one or two times. You'll get bored. But the spiritual scriptures, it's not like that. Every time it's newer and newer. The Ananta, who is holding this entire Ananta, for your information, he is laying down on the Patala Loka. So he's holding the entire this universe, material universe, in one of his unlimited hoods. Ananta means unlimited. You can't count how many hoods he has got. Out of that, when one hood, he's holding this entire cosmic manifestation, and with all his other mouths, he's constantly glorifying the Supreme Personality of Godhead, not repeating, the same pastime for the second time. But still, he couldn't complete what he is doing that. So that is the glories of Lord Krishna. Even our acharyas are also like that. Like in recent time, His Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who is a spiritual master of His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, Bhakti Vedanta Srila Prabhupada, and he lectured on Srimad Bhagavatam first verse, that is Janmadhyasya verse. He lectured every day for 2 hours in Dhaka for continuously 30 days without repeating a single point. So we can imagine how glorious, the Krishna's potencies are, or Krishna's leelas are. So every time you will never get, bored. So the same thing, this Krishna's wives are also experiencing here, and the Krishna is there by their side, but they are feeling it is newer and newer. So this is a mood of a devotee. So that is what it is in today's class. And also here he mentions, Prabhupada mentions about Brahma Samhita. The first verse of Brahma Samhita, Lakshmi Sahasrashata Sambrama Sevyamanam Govinda Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. The Lord is being served by hundreds and thousands of Lakshmis. They're always serving him. So that is Sri Krishna. So this is what we were there supposed to discuss for today. So I think I ran out some extra time today. Sorry for that. Hare Krishna. First of all, apologies. I'm not in my Vaishnava attire today. Even I'm so sorry. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you so
Hare
much.
Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you very much.
Any question left for Prabhuji? Or we can break now?
No.
Okay, fine. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Hare
So I
Krishna.
find out that Krishna's wife Vibhava Swayam Rupa, one chart is there. I'll try to share that. Thank you. I'll share to Subal Prabhu. Subal Prabhu will post you in the group.
Sure, Prabhu, sure.
Thank you,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Thank you so much, Jai Govind Prabhu.
Hare
Thank you
Krishna.
so much.